Hi guys, right, so it's Mixing Wednesday. Right, so what I'm going to do today is I'm kind of going to go a little bit more into the comparative side of things. The SSL video that I did, comparing all the different kind of makes of SSL plugins, that did really well. And again, the acoustical one's done really well with the API tests. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a test today about different makes of consoles and EQs. Is there actually a sonic difference? So some people say, I prefer an SSL, I prefer a Neve, I prefer an API, I prefer a Focusrite. So what I've done today is set up a test where you can hear them on different sources and actually at the end of it do a blind test to see if I can actually tell the difference. Is there enough tonal characteristics to be able to tell differences between them? Is it just perceptive listening that makes us think there's a difference? So, really simple. I've got kick, snare, bass, guitar, vocal. So I'll play them individually, and I've got them all set up the same as close as I can. I'm using the compressors from the SSL, Neve, and the Focusrite consoles through Brainworks, and I'm using an API compressor and blend it in with the Slate stuff, so the Slate API, and again using that API console just to try and give it as close a representation as possible, because these are obviously consoles. So let's get into it. Let's start off with kick and let's see if there is a difference between the consoles. So it'll be SSL, Neve, Focusrite, and then API. Okay, so let's start off with it dry. Right, so that is the dry kick. Now let's start adding in the EQs, and again you'll be able to see which one I'm adding in. Right, so there is differences in there. The biggest difference for me has to be the Focusrite. Now, listen to the Focusrite. There's a different, it's a different character to it. It's like I've got a little bit more low end girth. And again, these are all set the exact same way, right? So again, listen to the Focusrite. And then listen to, say, the API. So again, there's much more slap out of these ones, right? And again, you'll find that the Neve again is very similar. But again, it's kind of lacking a bit of the low end punch that the API has, and then putting that to the SSL. So as you can hear, it's the Focusrite. The Focusrite has the biggest difference, and I would be able to hear that a mile off, right? So is there enough of a difference between, again, I'll play the API again. If you were to ask me which one I think sounds best, possibly the Neve. I think that the Neve marginally gets it, but the good thing is I'll do blind tests, so you'll be able to see which one, like if there actually is a difference, and I can tell the difference. And I'm also going to play them all together as well. So in terms of the kicks, I don't think there was actually much difference that any audible listener would be able to tell, bar that Focusrite. And there's a reason why I use that Focusrite in parallel now, because it gives me such a different sound. If you blend the two of them together, I actually think it sounds pretty good. So let's move on to the next one, which is snare. So this is the snare on its own. Now let's start adding them in. So you can hear a much bigger differences in these. The difficulty with this is that it doesn't have a high pass filter or low pass built into it. So all I could do was like put in these little filters here. So there is going to be slight difference. Again, I've got the op amp in to kind of give it as much character as I can. Again, I've got the API in as well, that console in. So much bigger differences there. Again, listen to the different attacks. Again, Focusrite. The Focusrite does this thing where it's almost like it loses all the sustain, and it's like it takes away all the high end. I mean, just listen to it. So there's definite differences in the attack. So again, like start off with the SSL, for example. To the Neve. So it's kind of a little bit more analog to me. You're getting more of that kind of, it's a little bit more of a dry attack, and with the SSL's kind of got this kind of a bounce to it. So I don't really know if that's kind of like a more realistic sound, but then again you compare that to the API. Again, it's a lot high end there. Cranking, like I'm just cranking 10k. Let me see. So again, I've got 12.7, 10k. Look, again, they're all set the exact same. There is definite more high end. There's a lack of body in the API. You've kind of still got the analog attack, but there is more of a difference. And again, Focusrite. Again, you just won't believe me, these are set the exact same. But again, look, 10k, 12.7. Look, I'm cranking it, and again, I've got quite a lot of body in it. I mean, again, look, I've got 270 at 3 dB. I've got 2.2 taking out a bit of 400. I'm hitting it quite hard. So yes, in the snare, there's definite differences, 100% differences. Let's move on to the bass. I don't think there should be too much difference in the bass, but again, let's see. So this is the bass on its own. So let's see if we can bring it in. Yeah, there's still a volume jump there. But again, tonally, if you think about, there is, again, slight characteristics. The Neve always has this low end. The Neve always has a little bit more low end, which is what they're characterized for. Now, let me see if this kept the same. Yeah, that's better. So again, there is slight differences, but I don't think there's enough between the two. Again, see the Focusrite? The Focusrite stands out like a sore thumb. And again, it's kind of got, to me, this has got a bounce. Same in the kick, and they've all got this kind. It's just really odd. I mean, listen. So probably that would actually stand out a little bit more. I do think the API's mids kind of poke out a little bit more. So I do like the mids, which is APIs are always characterized for as having really good pokey mids, where the SSL it's kind of a mix of all of them, really. It's not got the pokey mids of the API. It's not got as much low end as the Neve. Again, let's compare the two of them. Or maybe it does. This is what I hate about these tests, but there are slight differences. I think I would probably be able to tell the API's mids, and I'd definitely be able to tell there's more of this analog bounce, there's more of an attack, and I do think if you were to combine the Focusrite, say with like the API, you'd probably get a really nice blend. And the Neve's maybe the weakest actually to me, but again we'll see what happens at the end. Right, so let's see what the vocal's like on its own.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be your undercover lover.
Right, let's start bringing them in.
I can be your undercover lover. 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 I can be your undercover lover.
Right, so for me the API it's a bit too piercing. The high end is just a little bit too much, and that would become fatiguing. I do think I'd be able to pick that out. The Neve sims the best to me. The thing is with the SSL, it sounds like it's a little bit choked, a little bit.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be your undercover.
You can hear it at the start, I mean, listen to the difference in the Neve.
I can be your undercover lover.
It's clearer. The voice has got as much mud in it, and it's a little bit more present, and it's a little bit cleaner. The Focusrite actually does a half decent job.
I can be your undercover lover. 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 I can be your undercover lover.
I mean, possibly, and that's maybe say the Focusrite maybe does the best job. It's the cleanest out of a lot of them. But the Neve does have this slight bit of warmth that I like. And again, compare that to the API, it's just really fatiguing.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be your undercover lover.
It's just not for me. So that's them all separately. Now, we now have to see what it's like all together. So this, again, volume matching this is an absolute nightmare. This is the SSL.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through.
Right, move on to the Neve.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through.
Then on to the Focusrite.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through.
And then lastly API.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through.
So I could definitely hear that snare. That snare standing like a sore thumb. So let's see, right, if the two ones that sound really different to me are these ones. So again, Focusrite.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through.
And what's amazing is, on its own, I didn't like the SSL on the vocal. I actually think the vocal sounds better now with everything mixed in on the API.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I can be your undercover lover. I can be.
So I don't like the top end, but I love the low end. And I think, see, when you mix it all together, I actually think the Focusrite probably has the best low end. So again, let's compare that to the Neve that normally people say has the best low end. So Focusrite.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I can be your undercover lover.
again, there's more low end slap coming from the rest of them. So actually, would the Neve probably come out better on, say, smaller speakers with the kind of the higher end slap? Yes, but I do think that the Focusrite's low end is tighter. And again, let's compare that to the SSL. To me, the SSL has more weight in the low end. I think the SSL is better than the Neve in the low end. But the Focusrite's tighter. It's definitely got a tighter low end. And again, let's try out the API again. The bass is probably the one, again, those aggressive mids in the bass really help that kind of come out. The guitar's a little bit more brittle as well, so you can hear the aggressiveness in the mids. So there is kind of certain differences. I think I'm going to struggle to tell the difference between the SSL and the Neve. Again, let's play them one more time before we do the blind test. I really don't like that vocal though. I think that the SSL lets it down in the vocal. So, let's do the blind test, right? Let's see if we can tell the difference. Right, okay. So, where am I? Again, I always use this one. I got this for free, by the way. Again, this is the best you'll find, and it's free. So, it's just as simple as sticking these two on. Right, so we've got SSL and Neve. So we've identified the differences between the two. Now, is there enough of a difference for me to tell the difference? And I'll do them like 2 or 3 times. So let's shuffle it and let's play it and let's see if I can tell the difference. Right, so that one's SSL because the vocals aren't as clear, and I can kind of hear a little bit more low end. But again, let's just listen. So this is what I think, and then let's again do another listen. The Neve actually, to me, seems like it's got a little bit more weight. I do think this is the Neve. Yeah, I was right. But again, that was quite interesting how listening back to it, again, I could kind of go, right, the snare's different there. Again, the low end's a little bit different. The vocal in the SSL is a little bit more muffled. But playing them back, forth, a listener wouldn't tell the difference, guys. There wasn't enough of a difference for me to say, Neve, SSL, in terms of the plugins, Neve SSL, yeah, the Neve is better than the SSL is better than the Neve. They were too close together. There's no way to me that any normal listener would be able to tell the difference. So let's try and do SSL and the Focusrite. I think this is going to be night and day. This should be night and day to me, right? So let's try out these two. So that was quite obvious, right? So we all know that that's the Focusrite. Again, you could hear it in the snare, and again the low end is tighter, and there's much more high end coming through the SSL. I don't know what that is with the Focusrite. I don't know why it does that, but that was a pretty easy one. But see, the SSL, to me, the SSL's low end sounds a little bit more muddier than the Focusrite. So again, if you were to maybe just use Focusrite for your low end or combine them, then you can get that nice high end slap, say from an SSL or Neve, then use the Focusrite and say parallel or have two, or just have like two, duplicate your kick or your bass, and just like what I do, that's what I do now, and just ride the fader of the Focusrite to give you that low end clarity that you're needing. So that was quite easy. I don't even need to do another one because you can tell the difference. Now SSL and API, is there a big difference there? I'm not sure. I think I'll be able to tell the difference. I would like to think I'll be able to tell the difference between the two of them because the API is more aggressive. So start off there. I mean, sorry, I've realised ages ago that that was API, but I was kind of listening kind of like to the low end. And what I do is I pick out the differences that I know. So the snare does it for me, and there's more excitement in the SSL guitars. Again, before I press it, listen to the low end. The API definitely has more low, it has mid aggressiveness. So again, listen to the bass. Bass is kind of cutting through a little bit better. So the API's kind of got this kind of very high-end sizzly thing kind of going on. Again, it's very aggressive in the mids. So I can tell the difference between that. And to me, a listener probably would tell the difference. So again, there you go. So that was a little bit easier for me. So again, there is tonal characteristics there. And then let's see, let's move over to the Neve. So again, I can tell the differences from that. So we're trying to then do Neve and API. So let's see if I can tell a difference. So we all know that that's the Neve, again, because the snare of the API gives it away. But again, I was listening a little bit longer because what you could actually do, you can definitely hear there's more weight to the Neve. And I think that's something the API lacks. I never use API for low end because it's really good for like mids and aggressiveness. So again, listen to the low end again and you'll know that the Neve's coming through. So again, for me, so what I do now is I blend in an API with something that's got a bit of low end. So that's why I'm kind of thinking, I'm speaking in my videos about like parallel like consoles, because think about the different characteristics. So you're missing the low end, but again, you're missing the kind of pokey mids that the API gives you. So really, why wouldn't you try and combine these together to give you like, and again, I'll just, we all knew that was what that was. So I find that really interesting. So I don't even think, so again, we'll do Neve and we'll do Focusrite as a last test. We're going to be able to tell the difference. It's going to be dead easy. But again, they all do have kind of different characteristics. So again, you know you've got the low end weight from the Neve, okay? So, and you know you've got that low end punch from the Focusrite. So this should be an easy one. So the Focusrite's definitely got weight to it, right? 100%. The snare gives it away, and it's that lack of high end, that lack of sustain. But what I love is the fact that everybody goes on about Neve and its massive low end, but it actually lacks the weight because the Focusrite's got all the weight. So that was an easy one. So look, there you go. So what I can say is that API, yes, there is a difference. That's got more aggressive mids. It hasn't got that. It isn't really great for low end, and it's got a little bit of sizzle in the high end. A Focusrite is really tight and clear, really punchy, and it's got a lot of weight to it. The SSL. Now again, I'm going to do one last test with the SSL and Neve because I'm struggling to kind of hear a proper audible difference between the two of them. So we'll do it one more time because I'm actually finding it hard to describe them in a way that people would say, right, why would I go for an SSL over a Neve? Right, so we'll try it again, see if we can tell a difference. Let's see. I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I mean, I can tell the difference, right? I know by the snares that that's the Neve and that's the SSL, but there's not that much difference between them. Not enough that like a listener would be able to tell the difference. So so there you go. There's like a test for you today, guys, right? I thought it was quite interesting. So there's 4 different EQs. I think what we could say is that yes, APIs do have an aggressive mid quality. The Focusrites that nobody speaks about, it lacks in the high end, but it's got a lot of weight and it's got a really nice clear punch. It's a very clear sounding console. The SSL and Neve are kind of like a combination of they've got more weight to them in terms of overall weight. They're not clear, they're not punchy, but they'll give you more of an overall thickness to it. The Neve is a little bit warmer than the SSL. The SSL to me is a little bit more excitement, but it's not as harsh as the API. But if I was to say I need to add something, then I would probably say be able to add more with these two because they're more. You could actually hear what they're doing. So these two are great. And they're kind of all-rounders, where these two are kind of like, in a sense, one-trick ponies that do a certain job, where an SSL and a Neve will give you a good all-round. So again, they're good in the high end, they're good in the low end, they're good in the mids, but these ones are just a little bit more aggressive in certain situations. So that there is our critical listening for this week. So there you go. Is there differences between these 4? Yes. Is there differences between an SSL and a Neve? I'll leave that up to you guys. So that's me for this week. So thank you very, very, very much for sticking with me for these long videos and these long comparisons that we do. But again, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And again, Mixing Wednesdays, I put a new video up every single Wednesday. There's tons and tons and tons of other mixing videos and all audio mixing playlist. So check that out as well. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys soon.